Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Gassewitz, CEO of IAIC, and welcome to another episode of In Focus. Today, I'm joined by Oliver Lee, head of our insurance operations. Welcome, Oliver.
Hi, Mike.
Great to have you on the show. Usually, this is going to be an interesting show. Usually we don't have folks coming on just to introduce themselves and talk about themselves, but Oliver, you're a special guy. A little while ago, we put out a webcast talking about the ADAPT process, something you and I, when I came on board and I met you, we talked through what you did and, how you and your team operate working with our accounting firm partners. And I thought it was just fantastic. And it's just something we have to, really articulate to clients so they understand that. But maybe, so with that in mind, I thought it'd be good for people to, first of all, clearly they'll see we do things differently here. And I would say a big part of that is because of you and you coming on to the team when you did. So why don't we talk about you? Why don't you give us a bit of your background, Oliver?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, extremely excited to be here at IAIC, IAFG, that's another acronym. And then I'll throw another acronym out to our clients. It's IALIA, IALIA, and that stands for Independent Accountants Life Insurance Agency. So that's
We're an acronym factory, aren't we?
We are. We
and they don't roll off the tongue either, do they? Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, so again, very excited to be here. I joined the organization 5 years ago, and prior to that, I spent 25 years with one of the major life insurance companies here in Canada, and that experience, through those 25 years, allowed me to kind of get a sense of how the insurance industry works and how insurance advisors work with their clients. And when I saw an opportunity to work with clients here at IAIC and do things differently, that was a big deal. It really, that was a big attraction as to why I joined the firm.
So talk a little bit more about that. And again, I had, already kind of, like I said, on that webcast, we spoke to ADAPT and how we do things differently. But again, maybe in your own words, just at a high level, let's start with, and actually, I'll use the anecdote. When you and I first met, when I came on board, I think it was about my third, fourth sentence in, I said, "Hey, Oliver, by the way, I hate insurance." And I said it tongue in cheek, but the reality is, there was a time I just genuinely hated insurance. I just, a lot of bad actors out there. And, I, at that point, hadn't educated myself in terms of really the value in terms of what it can what it can bring to clients. And so yeah, again, in your own words, what did you observe in your past and what did you want to change here?
Yeah, Mike, your comments are certainly not unique to yourself. Let me put it this way: when I'm at a party, I'm certainly not the most popular person there. People don't typically want to talk to insurance advisors. But yeah, I mean, that's what the insurance industry has created for itself. And that was, kind of what I observed over 25 years is, unfortunately, there were a lot of advisors that did not put their clients' interest first. And that reputation is warranted in a lot of cases. So, part of that challenge is that a lot of the insurance industry is sales driven. That's how they're structured. There's pieces behind the scenes. It's all kind of centered around that commission, which drives that behavior. And the role that we have here and how we operate here is that is not our motive. That is not a factor in terms of how we provide advice. And that gives us a tremendous amount of freeness. I don't know if that's a word, but a tremendous amount of just doing the right thing without an implication, without having to worry about, oh my God, I need to hit these sales targets. No, if the right advice is that the client should be buying something different, if the client shouldn't be buying any insurance at all, that's advice we're going to provide. And so that's at a high level, that's why we're different.
So when we talk about the process, one of the first things we look for, and you brought in, was, look, we need some form of financial plan. Talk about that. Why is that important in the context of insurance?
Yeah, great question. So a financial plan, there's two pieces to a financial plan. One is the actual number crunching, which is determining how much you need. So instead of picking a number out of the air, the financial plan, a real good comprehensive financial plan will actually calculate your needs year by year, kind of, and total them up into a one lump sum. So it's a very accurate and detailed process, which is great. But the other important piece of the financial plan is then to put perspective around it. Yeah, just because you may need $1 million or $2 million of insurance to protect your family does not mean that that's the right decision today. And the financial plan can give that bigger perspective and priority to help us determine, yeah, you know what, maybe at this point in time, buying half of that coverage is the right amount. And then later on, we're going to revisit it because you have other savings, you have other goals that you've got to meet. So a financial plan is certainly the key and the big part of doing the right thing for our clients.
And that's what I loved about the process, the fact that that you and the team prioritize needs, right? The goals. And yeah, financial plan's all about goals, multiple goals. And yeah, the priority of those goals, they're not necessarily all equal. And so to your point, the fact we take that into account and in terms of understanding whether, insurance is the right, call it product or asset, really at the end of the day, that's what it is. For a client's overall portfolio, it makes just total sense. But again, it's something we don't really see across the industry, at least in a broad stroke. So in terms of the uses of insurance and specifically in the Canadian segment, I mean, we talked about it again in the ADAPT process, again, in your own words, where do you see the value of insurance for our clients?
Yeah, there's probably two main pieces, Mike. One is certainly protection. So for many Canadians that are, certainly have mortgages, are working to save up for their retirement, children. So for many Canadians, really kind of protecting against the loss of that income, either the loss because you pass away, unfortunately, or the loss of from disability. So insurance really plays a key role in that. And then the other piece is for Canadians that have a lot of wealth and have accumulated wealth, and especially if that wealth is within their corporation. Insurance is a very effective tool to extract a lot of that wealth more efficiently when you pass. Many wealthy Canadians, they've realized that obviously a big impact, or the biggest impact to their wealth, is taxes. And life insurance has some really unique tax attributes that can extract that wealth more efficiently.
And that's one thing, and I know we're going to have a future either webcast or podcast on that in terms of some clever things that we do in terms of, especially for owner operators. Everyone's going to pass away. And so what's the best way to handle that? And so looking forward for us to be talking about that. So let's say, I'm a client, I've had my financial plan, I kind of go, I don't think I've had the ADAPT process applied to me. What should I do?
Yeah, great question. So I would start by, if you've got a financial plan, hey, you know what, you're probably 50% of the way there. So, pat yourself on the back that you and your financial planner have completed that. The next step is to contact your financial planner, and then we'll certainly work with your planner to apply the ADAPT process to your situation. And again, when we do that, it really is, one of the words within ADAPT, as you know, Mike, is called diagnostic. And that's right. Exactly really what we're doing, is that when you work with your planner and they come and approach us to use the ADAPT process, we are going to do a diagnostic. So just like the word kind of denotes, we are just going to kind of see how things are going. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong. It doesn't mean that you need to do something, but it's really just kind of review the insurance to make sure that, you're adequately looked after, that there are no gaps.
You mentioned the planner for sure then, but, it's also important to stress the CPA, having the accountant at the table. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe in other organizations, the accountant is not necessarily invited to the table all the time. in terms of evaluating whether there really is a need for insurance, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. In a lot of other organizations, the accountants are almost viewed as adversaries, unfortunately. And yeah, in our organization, for sure, they're one of the big pieces, and we certainly will work with them at the early stage to collect information. So not just going back to the client and asking the client. In a lot of cases, we can make that process simpler by going directly to the client. And then when we do the review and then finally come up with any recommendations, we will also connect with the accountant to have them review and see if we've missed anything. So it really just makes the whole process not only just complete, but more efficient. We're really trying to create the best client outcome and experience possible, and working directly with the accountants really allows us to do that.
Fantastic. Oliver, thanks for this.
My pleasure.
Great to have you on the team. Like I said, when I came on board and you and I started connecting, I just thought this is fantastic. We've got the right person heading up the business with the right process and integrated approach into our TriCert process. So again, it's great to have you here. Folks, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Oliver, or again, feel free to talk to your financial planner. Take care.